Mina, and as you mentioned, we're glad to have Christy join us from Maryland, where she was talking with the Terps earlier on today. And let's start with them, Christy. Before we break down anything, the general consensus seemed to be they'd be a 2 seed, you know, despite the fact that the committee doesn't look at the AP poll. Still, they were ranked 4th in the country in the last one. How surprised were you that they're a 3?
I was very surprised, and I think it was a consensus here with the fans in College Park that Maryland was snubbed out of a number 2 seed because they won 30 games. They won the regular season title. They won the tournament title as well. And the body of work overall, I thought was strong enough, and I think it was a consensus with many fans here that they had done the work, and they've trusted their process to get to those 30 wins. They don't know what else they could have done, is what Brenda Frese said. So they will be here in College Park. They're taking on Bucknell in the first game, and also Elon and West Virginia are here, and those 2 teams had a lot to prove in their respective conferences to come out on top there. So this bracket is going to have a lot to do with pride, and I think a lot of the teams have a lot to prove, so it's going to make for some exciting basketball for sure.
They play Friday. It's a home game. They'll be playing at College Park. They're a 3 seed. We know UConn is in their region. We know Duke is the 2 seed. How far can the Terps truly go this year?
Well, I think number one thing, they have to take care of business here at home. Last year, they were upset by Washington here in the second game and didn't advance to the Sweet 16. So I think they have unfinished business in that regard. So in terms of them advancing in the NCAA tournament, you heard Shatori Walker-Kimbrough said, we have to be who we are. We have to be what's gotten us here, and that has been depth, that has been production, and that has been efficient offense. Brianna Jones shoots 69% from the floor. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, 45% from the floor, and just does it in an effortless manner. So I think they just have to be who they have been. Destiny Slocum, the point guard, she's a freshman, but she is well beyond her years and plays with a tremendous amount of poise and confidence. So it'll be interesting to see, but it's going to take a team effort, totally.
Good chance for the rest of the country to get to see the high-scoring Maryland team. About 90 points a contest is what they average. All right, let's go from a 3 seed to a 9 seed to the Lexington bracket we go. And we check in with the Boilermakers of Purdue. Now, they will be playing in the 8-9 game. They'll be taking on Green Bay. Now, Green Bay is the Horizon League champs, and Big Ten fans might know their head coach, Kevin Borseth, former head coach of the Michigan Wolverines for a few years. Christy, what were your first thoughts when you saw the Boilermakers in the 8-9 game?
Well, I was excited, and the way that Sharon Versa prepares her team and gets them to play tough on the defensive end, and Ashley Morissetti, the senior leader, has just been amazing for the team as well. And they made that deep run in the Big Ten tournament, losing to the eventual champion Maryland, and I just think that they did enough. And by passing Ohio State in the semifinals in the tournament, I think that clinched their chances to be in the NCAA. And even though they're a 9 seed, I think they have a great chance to advance simply because they play defense in a dogged manner. And they don't give in, and they rely on that. They hang their hat on that. If they're missing shots, they know that their defense will always be there. So I think with their defensive effort, I think they can go a long way in the tournament.
And they have the benefit of playing close to home. This will be a game in South Bend, Indiana. Now, if you look one line below them in the bracket, you see another Big Ten team also in the Lexington region, and that's the Buckeyes. Ohio State is a 5 seed. They'll be playing in the 5-12 matchup against Western Kentucky, and this will be a road game, Christy, because they'll be playing in Lexington, Kentucky against Western Kentucky. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I know that Western Kentucky is going to bring their A game. They always do. They're very well coached, and they have always played an excellent style of basketball in terms of execution. They have a tremendous amount of depth, but I also think for Ohio State, can Kelsey Mitchell stay consistent offensively? And that's what hurt them against Purdue. She was 3 for 23 in that game, and that was the main reason why they didn't advance in the Big Ten tournament to the championship game. And also, will Stephanie Mavunga, will she make her presence felt? She's been out since February 9th with a foot injury. So can she come back in and provide that depth inside? They were also missing that in the tournament as well. So can those 2 factors be a difference maker for Ohio Ohio State, and I'm sure Kevin McGuff is ready to play again. He didn't like the fact that they lost in the semifinals, so another team in the Big Ten with a lot to prove as well.
We'll be taking on the Conference USA champs in Western Kentucky. One more Big Ten team made the bracket, and for that we go all the way down to the Stockton region, and that's where we find our next team, and that team would be the Michigan State Spartans. They are the 9 seed. They will be playing Arizona State, the 8 seed. This is Friday in Columbia, South Carolina. Arizona State, a Pac-12 at-large team. This was a 6th place regular season finish for Michigan State this year, and they were tied there. This is also a Michigan State team that had to deal not having their head coach for medical reasons for a little while. What do you expect to see from Michigan State in this game?
Well, I think Susie Merchant, even though she was out for probably a total of a month this season, I think that she has laid the groundwork. And leaders like Tori Jane Costco on the floor, who had an amazing senior campaign this year, what didn't she do? And she was just all over the place offensively, leading the team in scoring, rebounding as a guard, 8 rebounds a game, 5 assists a game. So I call her the Swiss Army knife for a reason. There's nothing she can't do. She always guards the other team's best offensive player, takes them out, and is still having the strength and the wherewithal and the confidence to be that leading scorer and everything else for them as well. So it's an amazing turn for them to get through the NCAA tournament.
Christy, before we let you go, there was one team that was considered a snub. The Michigan Wolverines had 22 wins, and they were 3rd place in the league in the regular season. Why do you think they didn't get in?
Well, I think when you're looking at momentum, I don't think they had the strong enough momentum headed into the tournament. I think they lost a regular season game to Penn State on the road, and I think that loss really hurt them. I know that they won 22 games, and that's a school record in terms of wins for Kim Barnes-Arico and her group, but Caitlin Flaherty had a great season as a junior. They've been to the WNIT. They've had a magnificent run at that level. I just thought this year they could make it, but Purdue did what they did, and I think that changed the tide for the Big Ten getting another team in.
Sure, a combination of too many losses, 9, and not enough quality wins in those 22. Christy Winters-Scott, thanks for your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.